Hey folks, welcome to another DevStream VOD archive. Before getting into it, I wanted to call out that the game is now playable. There's a link in the description, so please check it out and let me know what you think. And please consider liking this video and leaving a comment, because it really helps with the algorithm. Thanks.
Alright, I think we're good here. So, last time on stream, just did simple playtesting and bug fixing. I know the dream of automated testing is that one day I will have to do barely any manual playthroughs and barely any for bug hunting. And that is still like the North Star we're striving towards. But we're not there yet. So we do have to keep playtesting to look for regressions. I'll probably keep adding more automated tests every week. Where this past week I added automated tests for those angled platforms that were causing grounded problems. Yeah. And eventually, when the set of automated tests is large enough, that and like diverse enough and robust enough, that can somewhat replace manual playtesting. But for now, we should probably still start off with like a playthrough or two most of the time. Maybe we'll get to every other week soon. But yeah, it's just the fact that I ran into like introduced these fairly sizable regressions, just like tinkering away in the code, and didn't notice is a pretty significant problem. So it's kind of like a false sense of security from automated tests that was like, if we're being honest, insufficient. So we're gonna keep adding a playthrough or two at the beginning to look for these bugs. At least for the foreseeable future. It's also a good like transitionary type thing where it doesn't feel as much like work if I'm just playtesting. And then that gives me a nice like in between before we get to the real work. All right, but anyway, we're gonna try and do like 1 to 2 full playthroughs here, looking for more bugs. Hopefully, will be a lot easier this time around. Where last time we were pretty significantly stymied by that grounded bug that was just so significant. So start off with the tutorial and then go from the tutorial to more playtesting. And see, these now pretty much work as we expect them to. Yeah, I think one-way platform should be pretty much good now. You know what I just noticed though? That directional acceleration thing also applies to controlling your movement in the air, which I'm fine with, I think, but it just didn't cross my mind. We were initially implementing that. Oh, that should have been a ledge grab, I feel like. Tutorial's still a little bit smushed. We have a to-do item to like stretch it out. And still a long-term plan, I think, to make the end look more endy. Kind of just seems like you're trapped. But we can go into a full playthrough now. So yeah, we'll do, as usual, I think 2 rounds. First, we'll try and get the highest money count possible. Kind of like hard money. Oh, see, the problem, we do, oh, not as much. We have sort of tightened the window where the almost jump happens. Like there, you see that? It like glows and stuff, and switched you to your grounded animation, but it's not enough for the effector apparently. And I was talking last time about how that's like kind of an annoyance of using pre-built solutions, is that I have no reasonable way to debug exactly what's happening with the effector. All I can really do is ask in like discords and make a ticket on Unity or something. Still, I think I've mitigated it as much as I possibly can. Another thing, it's like a minor thing, but like, you know, eventually feeling good is comes at the top of a pile of all these minor things. But I changed this this one-way leaf offset thing to like have a speed instead of just being instant. That means when we do get that like little poke through, for starters, it's less jarring because it can only move like so much in a single frame. And then also it feels less it feels more natural when you jump off it, whereas before it would immediately snap back to its current position, and now it kind of you know, it has a short, it moves back pretty quickly, but it does have an amount of time it needs to move back over. Which also contributes to it feeling more like natural and less glitchy. Oh man, I'm just getting hit for days. I am full of coins. Oh, I thought I had my extra jump. That's something to think about. I feel like there's pretty good feedback on the dash. If you dash, you're like gray instead of white until the dash comes back. We don't have anything similar for the jump. So if you do something like that, where I just like graze the platform and it doesn't actually trigger grounded, it doesn't feel like I have a good way to know whether or not my jump charges have been restored. I'm gonna focus up, try not to lose any lives here. I think the best I've done on this since I started paying attention to how well I've been doing is only losing 2 hits, and I lost them at the very end. Yeah, I guess I can just sort of like think out loud. What would be... Oh no, I'm gonna... Oh, that was a throw. I had the ability to not get hit there, and I just panicked. But what would be a good way to indicate the jump charges? I thought of maybe... instead of just doing white and gray for the dash, maybe like you could do the red component is the dash, and then like the blue component is the first jump, and the green component is the second jump, or something like that. But I don't know if that's going to be like too confusing to actually read through to the player. And also, I don't know. It's like too overloaded, I fear. Maybe if it were only in 2 slices. So you could say the dash, since the dash is like magenta, the dash could be like magenta and control the red and the blue component, or like half of the blue component. And then maybe the jump could control how green and blue you are. I don't know. I think those are the types of ideas, just, you know, like mathematically breaking down the color. You have 3 components to work with. How can I store this information in those 3 components? There are ways, for sure. But I wonder if there's a better way. In terms of, like, you could potentially pick a particular spot to control the glow. Like, maybe you have the... Oh, I did not see that mushroom at all. But you can maybe have something like the torso being associated with the dash, and then like each of the legs being associated with the jump charge. But I don't think that's good either, because I just don't think the player character is big enough for that to read clearly, for starters. Man, these dash bits being stuck inside walls is a bummer. Especially when I'm trying to get a bunch of money. Oh, gotcha. Saw that guy coming. That triple mushroom platform is pure death. There's no reason to risk that. Gonna even wait here for time stop. Alright, we made it to the end, 306, not bad. We're probably going to die to this bee lady, just because 1 health is not enough to win with, most likely. But we will try. I think maybe I haven't been looking hard enough, been true to focused on trying to win. But haven't noticed any significant bugs. That was the blue bee bug that we already knew existed. But let's retry and go through once more. Since we made it to the end, we can try and get money again, but actually buy stuff in the shop this time. You know, that can be where bugs are sometimes too. It's not really a bug, but it does feel like coins die randomly. You know, I get the idea that they have to have been like around a while before they die. They kind of just disappear. I think they should probably shrink to death and fade out their glow a little bit. As soon as I get to the shop and I'm safe, I'll make a note of that. So we'll let that error control thing. And money bits should have a fade shrink death anim. Ouch. 42 is not going to be enough to buy anything. What we can buy is guaranteeing the burrow boss for testing purposes. I should add to item feedback. So this is basically, well, I was thinking I should add a healing sound, but I don't have that sound ready. And I don't have any, like, sounds ready to go. I don't want to be digging through sounds. There already is visual feedback of getting healed in that your health bar, like, pulses. So really, the missing bit is sound, but, like, sound's its own things. See, like, that would be a good example right there where I was not at all 100% sure I had a double jump. I just need to think what. And that right there, I tried to bonk him on the head thinking I had a double jump and I didn't. So these are the kinds of things that I gotta figure out what the double jump feedback should be. So if we spent 80 on this pillow, that means we're at 165 right now. You know what I want to add to the to-do list? We'll see if it happens. I don't want to get over ambitious, but the one-time spawner, so that is the mushroom and the burrow dead feedback. I was thinking as part of the changes I was like looking at adding to that big master to-do list. I feel like I should extend the one-way platform glow effect here to the solid platforms as well if I can figure out how to do it. have specifically their like squiggly line here glow as you walk along it. I think that could look cool. And the other thing is I want to make the background more like noisy. Have it be more like swirly with more color variation that you could notice like changes in noise, and then have it be, we'll like have a flow field of the player's movement so that it kind of feels like, you know, like it should look like the background has like smoke whooshing in the direction of the player dash. If we connect that to a flow field, which could look cool, especially help in the first level where the background is a little bit more boring. And I know those shots were there, and I went right out into my death, or my hit. Oh, I have absolutely no idea how much I spent on healing, so rip to my, trying to compare to my 300 points. I do want to get to those high score things eventually, because I feel like that's like more the gaminess I need. So I feel like I'm missing a why, you know? Part of that is just because there's no end to get to. So that's a little bit like inherently defeated. Oh my god, you were dead. You should not have fired. Mush dead. Killed during time stop. Still fired bullets. And I should say it's a blue mush. And recording that bug led to my death. That's okay. Let's go through one last time here, and then we'll get into actually doing stuff. I think the controller is in a decent enough state at this point. I've like sort of gone through a lot of that frustration. These enemy kills feeling a little bit better. You know, that's starting to feel good. I definitely noticed the difference. You know, the leaf feedback. We just, you know, this first round of visuals I'm doing is just to give more, like, hard to describe, like, ephemeral, subconscious good feelings of just playing the game. Like a visual effect when you time stop would be another example to make the time stop feel more impactful. Like have like a warping of the screen go outwards from your character. Because like, on the one hand you might say, well, that's just effects, it doesn't actually matter for the gameplay. Like, does it actually make the gameplay better? Like I'm still inputting the same buttons, right? To dash into a chicken, and kill that chicken and traverse up this vine, right? But like, I don't know, in a way that's difficult to explain, that like doing that, giving that chicken a death animation where it spins, does make killing the chicken feel better. And I think that's what this version, this 0.3 is mostly about, trying to find as many opportunities as possible to juice those like subjective, ephemeral, hard to articulate good feelings of like juice and stuff feeling like it, you know, reacts to you better. The shop bell ringing, like actually doing a little rotation, is another example. that was weird. Hit like a weird super bounce. I think it was at the very edge of my jump, so it might be something that's possible to look for in an automated test. At very edge of dash, seem to hit a physical rather than trigger collision, which led to much more significant pushback. Need to refine the dash tests to mimic this. Right now, I think all paths ultimately go through trigger as a result of the dash hitbox. What's the word? Starting the collision rather than player body. I thought I could fit in a dash there. I could not. Or where we meet again. Here I have 216 coins. Boom, right back down. Ah, see, that was one of those times where I expected to have double jump but didn't. I have that on my list as a to-do. I feel like that is the last... Oh, what is this now? Are you invincible? What has happened? This is never supposed to happen anymore. He doesn't think he's invincible. Oh, that hit went through. I'm not sure what happened there. If I can't really, like, describe it. If you can't even close to describe how to reproduce it, it doesn't count. We'll do one more. Oh, sorry, I'm being distracted by Discord. I feel like acceleration, I really just, anytime I notice it, I feel like it's too much. I just want like a hint of it, like a sample spoon of deceleration. We can probably eke that down a little bit. Kill that guy quick before he attacks me. Another thing that might be interesting is like double kills. So I just got like 2 chickens with 1 dash. Multi-kill with dash, with single dash or single jump attack should be more rewarding. Maybe even have like nice combo type text. Remember in Sonic Adventure Battle 2 where there was like a whole hierarchy of like 90s cool words that you could potentially get if you killed a bunch of enemies in a combo? Like it would start out with nice, and then you can get like cool, and then it was great, and then like radical, then fantastic or something. Depending on what degree of combo you got. Something like that. Maybe could feel like could up the pace perhaps a little bit and let you feel like there's a bit more what's the word, intention about how you choose to clear enemies and stuff. Rather than just surviving. Because that is still, I think, the core, like, design problem. Is that I'm, like, going out of my way to play in a suboptimal way here to, get all these coins. The optimal way to play is to get no coins, or, like, just whatever coins you passively get. I have no idea how I got hit there. There might have been a rat turning around. It seems like the blue rats... See, like, the white rat there didn't hit me immediately. Kill another white rat. I'm not going to be able to wait. Dang it. How about on this one? Any luck? White rat. Can probably turn the thorn speed down a little bit. Alright, good. We got the rat boss for... Ooh, what was that? Felt like I had a second there where I did not get my grounded reapplied. I can't get it to happen. Yeah, I can't really get it to happen again. Hey, Senior Trick, thanks for the follow. I feel like I don't know if this needs to just like reduce the density. Ooh, again, we're missing that double jump. That's the biggest control issue remaining, I feel like, where ooh, I dashed right into that. Not paying attention. But the biggest control issue remaining is this. I thought I double jumped, but the grounded check was that's too early a death. We'll go through one more playthrough. But the biggest control issue remaining, we've ironed a lot of them out. We've gotten rid of most of our ledge grab problems. Gotten rid of most of our one-way platform problems. But there still is that thing where sometimes if you think you're doing your first jump, like say I fell down here and then I'm doing my first jump, or if you go like there, the jumps are used up, and then I try and jump immediately. Sometimes I'm not getting that grounded, I'm not getting that jump reset, and then I'm left like with my pants down where I expect to have a second jump, but I don't. So not only would that be fixed by, or it would be mitigated by having feedback on the character similar to the dash turning gray to say like you don't have your second jump anymore, by the way. But we also just need to like get to the bottom of it. Wonder how much money I can get if I get the piggy bank and never spend any money. In theory, this should be the way to make the most money. I don't think the piggy bank actually works right now. It's supposed to be like the Slay the Spire piggy bank, where you gain interest, but only until the first time you spend money. And I think that part of it doesn't actually work, where you just continually gain interest forever after buying this piggy bank. I don't know. The item stuff definitely needs a pass to both be more consistent and I don't know, just incentivize getting coins more. Cause like, even looking forward, you know, there's gonna be probably flying enemies in every level, but most of the enemies, like 2 out of 3 of the enemy types probably, are gonna be feels like this controller navigation is a bit inconsistent. That's why I'm yeah, it's something to look at. Let's make a note of that. Controller navigation in shop seems funky. Fix alongside pause menu navigation. And we can, that made me think the default's medium. I can go up to very high. Not that it's that different. It just like does less math on the vine. That's the biggest thing. Since we can do either boss, I don't need to spend money on that. Well, maybe the piggy bank does work. Or no, I didn't buy anything, did I? And see, this is the kind of thing that the item feedback we're gonna do when we're done playtesting today would help with. Instead of it feeling like I'm getting random money out of nowhere, well, let's see, let's wait. Is the interest ever gonna hit? No, it seems like the interest is turned off. That's probably a bug. But the point is, I would like to have like a general function that all the items could hook into that just says like, hey, pulse your item icon when your item does its thing. Oh, see there, that was interest. It might have felt like a weird coin out of nowhere, but if the piggy bank actually like grew when I got that interest, maybe I'd have to reduce the frequency because it could be kind of annoying right now, where I think it goes anytime. Like at lower levels of money, you might not be getting a coin. You're getting like fractional amounts of coin, right, that have to be built up. And I think it's set up to basically give you a coin whenever you get a full coin. Ah! I could have lived there. But if we made it like tick every 10 seconds or something, if you had more than one coin, and then we pulsed the piggy bank icon, when that interest hit, it could feel more deliberate, and I think feel better. And is not the only thing, but was one of the required things to make items feel better, is to make it more obvious to the player that the items are happening. Later, nerd. This rat shield that you get off the first boss is a really good example of that, because even though there's like a little rat who falls off your character, it's not that noticeable. And it feels like a bug half the time. I'm like, wait, I got hit, why didn't I lose a health? And the answer is because like the item that you got as your like reward for killing the boss or whatever, like the thing, it helped you. But with the weak state of the feedback on that, it doesn't really feel like it right now. And there's a few things like that. So like I said, it could be on the piggy bank interest, it could be on the the rat block. When the rat block happens, it doesn't necessarily have to be on everything. Like the magnet in there is one of the few powerful items in this current state of the game. And like I don't think it would like light up every time it pulls in a coin. So like maybe it's not appropriate in that case, but I do think there will be lots of items that are going to say like, hey, when thing happens, there's a chance for something else to happen. And that indicator that that something else has happened needs to be clear, where it feels like the items do nothing and that like random, almost buggy seeming stuff happens. Ooh, I almost died there. Now I'm like off my game. I'm being distracted by the coins flying everywhere. Oh, and I didn't even see that guy. Alright, but that's enough playtesting for now. Let's get into code changes. Actually, let me pee first, though. It's a good first round of playtesting. Found some bugs. Did I write down the acceleration thing? Turn down, or I guess turn up opposite direction acceleration. And then, yeah. What is this? Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, apparently. Let's go back to the Chrono Trigger, or Risk of Rain 2. That works. But also, I just, give me like a minute or two. I'll be right back. Just gotta pee. Alright. Time to do some actual work here. So, item feedback. And I was thinking just now, it's weird how like how knee-jerk and automatic the like reaction to reach for your phone is. Because I just felt like, oh, I'm running to the bathroom. Let's like check. What am I even gonna check? Like Discord? But like it almost feels weird that I'm like if I'm going to the bathroom and like, I don't have my phone to pull out. I mean, in general, your phone is like your two-factor key to everything now. So like losing your phone actually is a big deal, but I feel like it just triggers like a psychological reaction in me that it shouldn't. Even now, I'm like kind of wondering, where is my phone? I know I must have put it down somewhere. I can just have Google call it for me later. Let's not get distracted. Let's not get off task. All right. Item feedback. So we're gonna look probably at like as those items we were just talking about as an example. Oh, I forgot to make a note that like interest start stop on piggy bank seems broken. But like we can start with the oh my god, the rat shield here as a basis. Because I feel like that is the core example. This is not menu, it should be menu. So, let's open up here. And then we want to find the script here. I think it might be item manager. Like, let's see if we can find what else is checking this item data list. Because I think there might be another script that's the UI. This isn't it. Not this. Not this either. This is it. Collected upgrades UI. Okay. So, collected upgrades UI is the, here, let me go to main. Actually, let's just go straight to the sandbox. It'll be easier to test stuff in there. So that's like, if I give myself the piggy bank, it shows up here, right? We have the debug UI that's getting in the way, but the idea is there. It shows up right there. And we want that to basically, I want items to be able to opt in to, like, pulsing that as a common functionality. So, is this loading a prefab? Yes, it is. Collected upgrade image. So let's take a look at that prefab. Because I think we can just give it like the grow and shrink script that has been so useful for so many things. And we say it's just, if we make all the scales the same so it's not pulsing all the time, because that'd just be like annoying and distracting. But we will have it grow on start. So let's check that for starters. Does that work like we expect? So that I would expect that when I get the piggy bank, yeah, it grows. So even that I think is good. It like draws it's part of drawing your attention to the fact that, hey, you just got this thing. This thing's going to be tracked over in this section. So I'm even going to make that duration twice as long. And then I spilled tea slightly. One sec. Just wipe that up. Okay. So now we also want the ability to pulse that. So I remember the money is like, well, is there just a, yeah, you can just call start cycle basically, and then it'll grow and shrink. Um, so what if I say it's not looping, but then I give it a different scale? Is that going to be a problem? I see, I see. So it's a problem when I make it the time 0, but if I give it a time, it just kind of extends the grow on start duration because it'll grow up to 1 and then continue growing to 1.5 and then back down to 1. So that makes it pop a little bit more. And since it's not looping, it'll then just stay at 1, and then we can call start cycle whenever for it to pulse back to 1.5. So let's just make these times something like, I don't know, 0.25 each. Take a look at that. Can we make it the same rate as the grow on start? So I've made grow on start 0.5 and it's growing basically 2 units per second. So yeah, now it should be the same rate, because right, this is 2.5, that's half of the extra 0.5. Does it look more? Yeah, I guess. There's still like a brief delay there. But I think that's fine. Make this shorter. Slightly longer. We fudge numbers here. If we're ultimately going for a feel anyway. That's fine. Okay. That that's a nice little quality of life upgrade there, but that's not really the point. The point of this is for those items like the rat shield to be able to do that pulse and maybe change color as well when they do their thing. So I think there are two ways to go about this. Option one is we just build it into the item base class, where we just say like, hey, you can override this like getter function that's like should pulse on use. If it does, it just automatically pulses. We don't have to set it up in each and every thing. Or we can just say, okay, well, most things aren't going to want to pulse when they activate. So let's just directly invoke that pulse logic from each individual item that wants it. And I feel like the answer as to which of those options we should go with is just looking through the items and determining, okay, how many candidates do we actually have in here? Of each type. Like how many things are going to want to take advantage of this? So that's an item manager, I think. Yeah. Okay, so active items, none of them will. All 4 of these initial boss items probably will. None of the second round of boss items will. These... Let's see, summon a bird on dash kills. Ice Nova. So this would, anything that's like chance of contingency as well. Um, this doesn't need to. This can pulse when you like actually do a rest area thing. This volatile shield thing would. This ultra shield, you could have it pulse when the shield is broken. So yeah, I'd say on that. This is just triple jump, doesn't need it. Increasing health, doesn't need it. Heal on dash kill, definitely needs it. Item cooldown on dash kill. I don't know if it would. Maybe. Okay. I think, my mental model was like, all right, is it like 5 to 10 at least? And it seems to be at least 5 to 10. So I think it's worth baking into the base class. So what we'll do. Oh wow, there's really like nothing in here. That's surprising. Oh, because I think there's something called like modifier base. That's like item base is the base of both active items and passive items. But we only really care about passive items. So we can go to, yeah, see modifier base. So it has on buy, on awake, on destroy, and then on damage blocked. See, I guess the problem here, I guess maybe we call it from the derived class. Like we'll call it an on damage blocked. Because the problem with having it be like purely general and just overriding a basic function that returns true or false to tell the base class whether or not you want to do this is they all have different activation conditions. So it's not like they're all funneling back to a single on activated function, right? So it doesn't really there that sort of like funnel where everything could fall doesn't actually exist. Um, and maybe that's something that could exist in the longer term, but I think kind of similar to this idea as a whole, it can exist when it feels like there's enough of a need for it to. Because like it could be any of these events that is being hooked up for you. And we don't want it to fire in all of them. So we will fire it from derived, but what we'll do, let's see, I guess question is, where do these, these images aren't actually owned by the items themselves. They're owned by this collected upgrade UI. So the functionality to like pulse an item maybe actually has to be here. And while we're doing that, I think we need a dictionary as well. Like in this show upgrade, this index should be going into a dictionary. So that later people can say like, hey, I'm index blah blah blah. Can you please pulse my sprite? Or glow red or whatever. So first things first, let's hold that dictionary. If we already have the other static structs, this can also just be static. So this is a dictionary of game objects, or of int to game object, which is basically just a fancy way of indexing the array. Because this upgrade objects array, I think, is just linear. It's just you get an upgrade, you get the first upgrade, it sets the first upgrade. You get the second upgrade, it sets the second upgrade. And it just sets the image and it loses the concept of what upgrade it was. So we'll have this second storage of the upgrades in the context of the type of upgrade they are, so that we can then reference that. So here in on item obtain, well, I guess first, wherever we're making that array, we also want to make this. And then put upgrade dict. And then whenever an item is obtained, we'll add it to the dictionary. It would just be S upgrade objects at num collected upgrades. And the key will be the item index. Okay. So to just double check that this little bit is working, let's give ourselves a few items and then break in this function and check that our dictionary has like what we expect. Oh, Unity isn't happy. I tried to start debugging. It's okay, Unity. I heard not speaking of, but I got the Risk of Rain music on. I heard, or I've been hearing, that the new Risk of Rain DLC is a disaster. Cause like apparently Hoppo Games sold the rights to like keep making expansions to Epic, and Risk of Rain is a Unity-based game. So like there were at least what I had heard was there were a bunch of assumptions made by the Epic devs that like didn't also hold in Unity or were different in Unity, and that introduced a bunch of bugs. Like one example of like an overall architectural type difference is I guess they have a different concept of like ticks in game time. Um, so like if you have like a higher FPS, your items can do more damage because it's just checking every frame. Anyway, let's get out of this prefab view, go back into the game. Are we debugging? We are. We'll get a few items first just to like fill stuff up. Boom, boom, boom. And then we'll put a breakpoint here. And then we'll get a new item. Should cause a break. And it did. And here in our upgrade dictionary, it seems like we have, a proper way to reference these upgrade images by their item IDs. So cool. That's what we wanted. Now the next step is to have a function that lets us, from the point of view of upgrade ID, which I guess, come to think, do I even know? What is this 30? Is that cost? Interesting. Well, this might be more complicated than I had thought. Because if this is using just this index in this list, the item has no concept of that. The item doesn't know which number item it is. So that's a problem with the plan to like implicitly to sort of call this new UI from that context. But I definitely don't. I guess I'm thinking I'm definitely don't want to call it from like some third-party location. So I guess my options here are I could pass the index to get item data, and then it can just like remember its index. Um, that's kind of annoying to make the change now, but like I was already, for my own clarity, I was already keeping a list of the numbers anyway. So maybe it's okay. Start out at -1 to mean like not set, and then we can pass assigned ID, and we say item ID is assigned ID, and we should actually assert here to make sure we never break these assumptions. So we'll say assert is true. The item ID before, or I guess it should be S for static. My item ID either needs to be -1 or it should already match assigned ID. Those are the two options. It can never be the case that 5 minutes ago you told me my item ID was 4 and now I'm getting called again later and you're telling me my item ID is like 17. So I need to go past that. What's the problem? Yes, it does. Oh, no, it doesn't, because those are active items. Hmm. No, yeah, that's fine. Why is it getting mad at me? Why is this not okay? Oh, dude. Oh my god, this isn't even a base class. I'm gonna have to do this 54 times. Well, that's not acceptable. I'm trying to think if there's even a good way around it. Hmm. This overall path seemed viable to me when I thought we were all just calling it common. Well, why can't it be common? Well, even if it were common, I'm still going to have to pass it to all these callers. Let's take a look at. Oh my god, this says like. This is I would call it like sophomorish, where you know too much and like you think you're too clever, and in doing so, you actually do it worse. Where I feel like some of my use of inheritance in this item setup, because I probably thought at the time like, oh yes, so encapsulation, less sharing code, I never need to copy paste, but like for all this inheritance apparently, like I'm still calling get item data like 50 times. Anyway, what if I put at the top here, private abstract, or I guess public abstract static. I don't think, is this allowed? Static abstract? Is this legal? No, it's not. And that's kind of what I expected. All the stacking laziness is kind of finally coming home to roost, you know, where all I want to do is make an image grow and shrink, and I have the tech to do that already, but actually sending the commands through the like tangled webs of object hierarchies is a real pain in the ass. So what can I do about that? I'm thinking I think it is so my crossroads here is do I rework the up item UI to not need to care about what ID the item is, or do I find a nice way to plumb the item ID through this base class and stuff? Ideally, without needing to copy paste a bunch of stuff. Because if I look at this bomb, like what would the alternative be that I could make like get name, get description, get okay, what if I also had a protected static or protected abs because I'm thinking I can't do this where I have like a top level static and then like an implementation override derived because the static will not have an instance to call. So I can only go the other way if I wanted to. I could have the item base be the fully instantiated item that then calls the static, but that doesn't really fix any of my problems. I mean, is it just next question here? Does this have to be static? What? I guess. Because it's just information about the item, right? There is no part of this. There's no part of this that actually relies on an object being instantiated. It's just all information to give you for when you eventually do want to instantiate the object, which I'm guessing happens when the when you actually buy it. When the item actually like comes into the world by the player acquiring it. So, while it's true that this kind of makes sense to exist as it does as a static function, And even in the context of the item list, it's not just a quirk of laziness. It's like it actually makes sense for the data being stored that it is data related to the class and not the actual instantiated object of that class. But now the question is, so what is the best way to minimize code duplication we could have this item ID be protected. Like we could move these 2 lines to a helper function. I guess these 3 lines basically. This, and this. Could be moved to the base class. And that at least collapses the code duplication down from 3 lines to 1 line, where it will just call this function every time. And that's a little annoying, but it's not the end of the world. In a world where there's no way... Wait, can static be virtual, or can it just not be abstract? I don't think it can be virtual either. Yeah, it also can't be virtual. I'm pretty sure if I like look this up on Stack Overflow or something similar, they'd be like, rethink your design. It seems dumb. And they'd be kind of right. So I think that's the best we're going to get, at least the best I can think of right now, is we move this stuff to the base class, and then in each get item data, we pass the assigned ID to pass through to the base class, which I'm definitely not excited about that, but I think that's the most reasonable way forward. So you have a protected static int s assigned item ID is -1, and then we copy the code from the bomb. This code. Or it'd be like protected void assign item ID int ID. That actually does the assignment. So we can have the check be common, but we are gonna have to go through and like put this on every item, which kind of terrible. I'm not happy about it. I mean, I guess we can just like, do this, but that needs to be static in the item base. You good now? Yeah. Terrible. I have to now do this like a zillion times. I hate it. But that's what I get, I guess, for making a zillion copies of get item data with no zero relationship between them. It's kind of my comeuppance. I'm just thinking if there's any other way out before I go through and do this 50 times. But I don't think there is. What if, would it be possible, can we iterate through this list maybe? ID in item data. Can we say ID dot, so one of them like something type? You do ID as item base. ID dot behavior. Can we like dynamic cast system dot type? That's what I want to do. Or can we just say id.behavior assign? Can I call a static method on system.type? Nope. That's what Stack Overflow says. Have a public non-static method that calls your class's static method. Yeah. It's just telling me that Stack Overflow is just telling me there's not really a great way to do this. And oh, look at all these things I'd have to change though. I really am like just give me any way out to not have to update 60 methods. What if, like on our bomb here, instead of doing this, we can store. Oh, we're not even storing this item data to mess with it. Could maybe change this to like initialize item data, where the item data is stored locally, where we make one instance of this item data at like start time, and then when we call get item data, it can just be through a base class shared static method that returns the item data that you are expected to have already initialized, and because it then like has a place to exist as a part of the phase 2 loop to get the initialized item data, you can then assign an ID. Trying to think of that also will require some amount of changes. So I'm trying to think if there is what the downside to that might be. An upside I do like having this item manager thing that's kind of like, sure, the get item data part of it is noise, but like just like listing all the items here in the initialization of the array is kind of nice. But I guess what we do is we would basically change all these get item data calls. We basically need two of these lists. But I guess the second list, it might be possible to do in a loop. No, you would need like the two full versions of the list, I think. Alright, looks like we're back. So frustrating. I've like had pretty good experiences with this internet so far with Ziply. I got much faster internet speed for much cheaper. I think that's also part of just I moved to somewhere where the cost of living was a lot cheaper. But that is, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much, but that is twice now where, specifically during streaming, I've had the internet cut out and need the power cycle of the router, which takes like 4 or 5 minutes. Um, it's never when I guess it's good that it's never when I'm doing work, like working for my main job. It's never when I'm playing video games or anything. It really only specifically happens when I'm streaming. So I wonder if there's some issue there, maybe some configuration or something on the router. I need to change, or maybe it's just bad luck. I mean, that's possible too. If lightning strikes once every random amount of time or whatever, I don't know. Uh, it's it just so happened to strike both times when I was streaming. Oh, maybe I should like power the internet, power cycle the internet before I go to bed. I don't know. But dwelling on these problems is not productive. In the meantime, what I found is I'm actually already keeping track of global IDs on the item data. So we could just do that. The item data, I think, automatically, like, yeah, as a part of the initialization and construction of the object, is keeping track of how many other objects there are like it. So really all we need to do is say like, hey, on my item data, what is my global ID? And there isn't a good way to do that right now. So I think we would, but there is a decent way to get that going. We just basically have a protected static item data, S item data. And then in theory, couldn't we just say like, if S item data dot, and then in item data, we have a Boolean and initialized, defaulting to false. What's your problem? Oh. Okay. It doesn't want me to do that. We just have initialize. Here in the real constructor, have initialized as true. But we'll also add a default constructor where initialize is false. and it's going to complain that the other things don't have default values, so let's just go through and give them a bunch of default values. So this is going to be some annoying updating of stuff, but I'm more okay with it because it should reduce garbage collection costs. Uninitialized. So we give these all fine default values. Oh my god, I'm not even allowed to do this? What happens when it's default constructed then? I mean, I guess I could just make it a class. And then we say if s item data dot initialized return s item data, else s item data is this. We don't even need this, we just need this and then this. I think this should work. Still a lot of like busy work changing this stuff though. I'm hoping that the AI code guessing stuff will figure out what I'm doing before long, and then I can just hit tab. But that's the idea. We cache the item data. Oh wait. This is not going to work. Cause this is like local to active item base. So we actually have to give each thing their own item data. Which it just feels like I'm doing more copy pasting. So this doesn't go here. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll end up regretting this. It feels like on one hand, it takes me even further down the path I'm already on. But on the other hand, it lets me cache this, which should be an upgrade over the current setup. Yeah, so it's not great, but it's not terrible either. I wish I knew. I bet there is a way in Visual Studio for it to be smart enough to know how to do this through like a one-click refactor button, but I don't know how. So we're just gonna do it the tedious way. Oh, it's starting to guess though. Getting somewhere. Alright, 6 down, 54 to go. Let's go. If this doesn't work, that would be tragic. And I do risk it not working by adding it to everything without checking it. But I feel like I already caught the one pitfall I could have hit, which is that if I had them all point to the same item data, then that's just one single static instance. So we've avoided one pitfall. I'm hoping that's just the only pitfall we have to avoid. But I do hate this pattern I've created. And I probably knew it was lazy at the time. And I just never thought it would come back to bite me. But here we are with me being bitten. At least the one upside is Visual Studio starting to get the stupid thing I'm doing, so it can suggest code changes. All right, 9 down. What's next? Well, I have this. Let's go through and add it to all 3 instances. And then we go through and add this. And this shouldn't be null. Have I been doing null? Should be not initialized. It's never going to be null, I don't think. Ugh, it is null. Fuck. See, this is why doing things a million times is really stupid. I am full of regret that I have, on a previous state, committed to this pattern. Okay, 12 done. I definitely feel very stupid and pretty unhappy with this. I don't know what else to do. This was the worst of all the evils I considered. Or the least of all the evils, I guess. It's okay. All you can do is sort of deal with it for now. And remember this next time before I make 60 items. And anytime I'm gonna be making 60 of something, think very long and hard about the implications scale-wise. Because the dumbest part is, like, I knew all along this was stupid. I just thought I would get away with it. And now I can know that that is hubris. And the assumption should be that you're probably not going to get away with it if you do something stupid in one of your systems that needs to scale. Ugh. You know, I don't even strictly need to do this. I could just recreate. Oh, no, I couldn't, because it has side effects. I was going to say I could just re-get item data, but the way it's set up, it'll construct a new item data and think that I wanted it to basically the index will be wrong. We're getting there. The tedium of doing this a zillion times is Almost halfway over, not even halfway over. God, this is tedious though. Maybe it was telling me, maybe my internet's trying to give me a message that I'm about to do something so tedious and repetitive that there's just no need to stream it. Be kind of right. I was kind of holding out hope that I would think of something more clever, but it was not to be. We're just, stuck here with the least stupid of all options that is still pretty stupid. Wow, it's gonna be so awesome when I'm not, I don't have to do this anymore. I'm so excited. Man, imagine if this doesn't work how I think it will. That's gonna be heartbreaking. I think it should work though. I think I got it. Let's pin active item manager because I keep, or item manager because I keep losing it. Test, sure you can get some item data as well. Um, okay, we're through the active items. And since we actually only have a few boss items, we can actually skip a bunch of them. So that's nice. Getting there. My God, we're getting there. This is really quite bad though. It's so error prone. I mean, none of the bugs are going to be hard to find if there is a bug in this, but this is just definitely such a good example of why the sort of lazy static design I was doing is a bad idea. I guess this is, I talked about like being too clever with inheritance. That's not actually what this is. This is the opposite, where some more clever inheritance would have fixed this. I am like just patching over a previous bad decision to, for starters, make these identically named but not inherited constructs. And then as a second problem, not caching the result. God, this sucks so much. At least for the home stretch here. But god damn, this sucks so much. Oh, I feel so dumb every second I do this. And it takes so long to do. So, it's just exponential feelings of dumbness. And cursing my past self for my past self's laziness. How close are we getting? 2 more boss items. Okay, we're done the boss items. My god. So we can skip to 41, and we only have 20 left. Only 20. God damn, I'm stupid. And you know, if I ever have to make more changes to this, I'm just gonna feel doubly stupid. Okay. We're getting there, folks. I wish the guesser could figure this out, but it doesn't seem to be able to. It just wants to check for null all the time. Well, folks, if you're out there and you too are coding in a similar project that has an element that scales to many instances, for the love of God, don't make my mistake and copy and paste a bunch of the same static function with the same name. So you don't have to make idiotic changes like this. Because maybe I should have. I feel like I made my bed with this one at this point. But I'm gonna, in fact, let me make a note about it. Like, God dang. Changing the item data function was horribly painful. Just, if you ever need to do something like this again, just change how the objects are instantiated. Get rid of this copy paste static call nonsense. So terrible, so tedious, such a waste of time. Oh my god, we're only at Ultra Shield 46 out of 60. Oh boy. My idiocy is deep. 47 out of 60. It says 3 in the same file at least. We can slightly increase our pace. Oh my god, I feel so dumb. I hate this so much. And at the point at which I was gonna waste all this time updating all these copies of static functions, I feel like I should have taken the... I don't know, I really did try and think of a better answer, and I didn't really come up with one. Without changing how the item manager... changing how it sort of like keeps this item list. Alright, 50 out of 60. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. For these tedious ass changes. Learn from my mistakes, internet. Don't do this idiocy. I guess I also could have changed the constructor behavior to somehow make that only fire once. And then we could just call get item data again. That would be wasteful from a garbage collection standpoint, which I noticed that in the first round of profiling I did, that I was getting huge spikes in garbage collection. Because I would have things like little background particles, and they would be moving randomly, right? So you might have like a direction they're picking that is random every frame or every few frames, right? And the dumb, obvious way to do that is to just like say my direction is new vector 2 new vector 2 this new direction that I rolled, right? But what I noticed was for things that were repeated a lot, like those background objects, potentially like dozens or hundreds even of background objects, calling new vector 2 all the time was leading to the accumulation of a lot of garbage. And then when that garbage inevitably needs to be cleared, it would lead to lag spikes, especially on, and both the duration of the lag spike and the frequency of garbage collection. Oh my god, I'm almost at the bottom. I'm so excited. Anyway, both of those things were more pronounced on slower computers. I still gotta figure what exactly, just the rendering loop, which I wouldn't think should be that expensive, because I'm not really doing anything too fancy. But I was seeing on my weakest computer that I test with to try and have a testing environment similar to those folks who tried to play with weak computers. It was just the rendering loop that was eating up most of the time, and like it was unclear to me, what am I using Unity wrong, that just rendering a few instances of text, like on the start menu screen, was ending up with oh my god, did you finally figure it out? Nope. It almost got it. Then maybe I messed it up, maybe I didn't. Oh my god, the tedious nightmare is almost over. I guess you wouldn't call a nightmare tedious. It's a tedious daymare? I don't know. Alright, we cached the item data. Oh no, wait, there's a few more to do. Two more. We're almost there. God damn. I hope this just burns a memory into my brain, and I never do something this stupid again. But that's a little optimistic. I'm sure I'll be back to doing stupid things first thing tomorrow. But for now, we have almost alright, we've done it. And that's the tricky, tempting thing about all this, is that I'll never have to do that again, because if I copy and paste new items, they'll just already have this change. But anytime I want to make a foundational change like that and I already have a lot of items, it's brutal. Brutal. Alright, let's go ahead and close all but pinned. We have like a zillion tabs open. And then let's reopen this rat evasion. We'll just do this one because we're running out of time. Because we spent so much time copying pasted this item data caching bullshit. But anyway, on damage blocked, we can now say collected upgrades UI. Do we even write the function, or do we just think about writing the function? No, we just thought about it, it looks like. So after show upgrade, we will have public static void, I guess pulse upgrade sprite with int ID. And then we have that dictionary we made so what feels like so long ago, where we can then look up the ID, and then we can get component in children, grow and shrink, and start cycle. And if we have done everything correctly, this should work. So we go back to our rat evasion, say collected upgrades UI, pulse upgrade sprite, as item data, global ID. There we go. It all came together, folks, hopefully. We'll see. Oh my god, if it doesn't. Okay, then we go into the game. Well, we have clearly broken it. Fuck. Why is this broken? Oh wait, we have some errors we can look at? Okay, we have to change. Oh my god, it was right after all. The compiler was trying to tell me the right thing to do. Well, I deserve that. I should have listened to the compiler. Okay, okay. At least this is a lot easier. Well, this actually I believe we can fix quickly with just find and replace, where we can say we want to find if not s item data dot initialized. Didn't find it, maybe with a space. Okay. We then replace that with s item data equals null or is not initialized. And then just replace all. 49 occurrences replaced. Is that enough to fix it? Let's find out. No, we still have 5 errors. Show me those errors. Active item manager is complaining that item at current, well, hold on, let's clear and start over. And then pause. And then, oh, well, this is because it was wrong. None of this can be wrong, because if any of it's wrong, it's going to crash the calling function. Which then cascades. So fix the, hopefully that's the only one that was wrong. Let's try it again. 0 errors. Okay. Oh, all our items are back. Thank fucking God. They all have the right information, it seems. So let's get our loyal defenders triggered. But what if we get hit now? Does it pulse? Well, that time it didn't trigger. Still didn't trigger. Aha, it did pulse. I saw it. It wasn't that noticeable. But if we add some color to this, forget about it. See it happen one more time if we can. I think it's only a 25% chance to fire, so we're just getting pretty unlucky here. Oh, we're gonna die. Yeah, we are. Alright, just for testing, we're gonna go to our rat block and turn the chance up to, oh, 30, wow. Well, we're gonna turn it up to 100, so it just happens over and over again, and we can confirm this works. Oh man, what a tedious journey this has been of updating 60 functions. But now, alright, so we take some damage, nothing happens, right? Come on, guy, shoot me. Alright, nothing happens, but then we go to items, give ourselves the rat block. It pulses to let us know it got it. This is just debug menu, this will be gone. And then it also is pulsing when it's triggering. So you can see it's spawning that little rat, that's cool. Maybe we should make that rat bigger. But the core idea here is that we now have the general system available to modify this sprite over in our collected upgrades UI. We can make it glow, we can make it change color. Right now it's just a proof of concept. We have it growing and shrinking. That's fine, that's great. We've done it. I'm gonna take a look at the git diff because I bet it's really stupid. Oh my god, look at all this. Identical changes everywhere. The one silver lining I will say about this is because I got it wrong the first time and we have to check for null or not initialized, I know as a fact I didn't miss anything, right? Because if I had missed anything like I did with that one rest area, it causes the game to crash. So the fact that the game can run means we have updated all the items to now cache their item data once they create it the first time. And that means if there are any future instances where either items want to like talk to external elements in a general sense based on their ID, we should be all set on that for now. But honestly, the biggest takeaway here is, holy crap, don't just think twice. If you are ever in a coding situation where you have 60 instances of a derived class, do not copy and paste a static function that has nothing to do with the inheritance 60 times. Because, oh my god, that was painful and stupid, and I feel very dumb about it. And I know it might be tempting to just say like, well, it's spilt milk at this point. But to be honest, if I ever have to do anything like that again, I'm taking a step back and I'm fixing the class relationships here such that, you know, instead of taking the time to update 60 copy paste functions, we're just going to figure out the proper way to like instantiate members. We could have like a separate item data class. I don't know, but like this cannot stand. There will be no updating 60 functions again. But yeah, coming on 9 o'clock, we got the basic proof of concept for item feedback in. I think we're going to call it there probably. So we can cross this off. Ran into terrible, stupid problems with copy pasting static item data function. Filled with regret. Made this take tons of time, but it is implemented in its basic form, specifically for the rat damage block item. Okay. So, I think offline this week, what I'm going to be looking at is adding that feedback to more different items. All the items that we want to have that kind of feedback, adding it in. And adding other kinds of feedback potentially, like maybe just like a generic like sunburst of particles that like, hey, a thing happened, your item thing happened. I don't know. I guess I'm like, now I'm trying to think of more ways to use the system to make it so I get some more use out of that hellish amount of repetitive updating I just did. But gotta avoid like a, what's the word, square peg in a round hole type thing. If it just means we pulse the items and that's all we ever get from this, that's fine because that's good feedback to add. Like I was talking about at the front, we're really just all these things about feedback are really just trying to improve this overall juiciness, you might call it. Juice is a word for it, and it's just that like indescribable feeling of the game feels good to play. The things I do feel like they have an impact. Like I feel like I'm getting an accurate picture and things are popping and stuff is happening. So yeah, the overall drive here is adding more feedback to everything, in the hopes that we can make some of that feedback juicy and improve the overall uh, juice of the game. Um, so I feel like some of the stuff, like the vine overall, the leaf step, does have some juice to it, but we're still well short of where we could be and where we need to be for just the moment to moment to feel more fun. Um, and I think that can also be achieved by like sort of larger game objectives like high score, quests and little levels like kill 10 chickens or something, you get a boost. And those things can kind of go together. If you're trying to earn as much money as possible for a high score, then you're more likely to pick up that quest, that dangerous side objective to get you more money, get you up higher on the score. Um, so I feel like that part of the motivation is there as well. And as we get more content, just like seeing the end of the content, seeing where this is going, that'll be part of the motivation. But really, the core, most important thing, and why it's coming first, I think, is that juice of the moments I am playing this, I am having fun. Um, and it's not going to be one thing that gets us there. It's going to have to be like 50 small things. And I think we crossed off one of those small things today by setting up a framework for improved item feedback. So yeah, I guess that's my outro spiel. Next week I'm gonna stream on Monday instead. And I'm being honest, it's doing it. It's so I can play WoW on Tuesday, which is like the patch day for WoW. But I think it also will be good for driving some more game development on the weekends, because I feel like I can kind of put it off as like, oh, well, I know I can just do work on Monday night, you know? And the work you might do, just as a nature of having less time to work on it on Monday night versus like a full day Sunday or a full day Saturday, just less gets done if I'm willing to relegate to, oh, I'll get my weekly chunk in on Monday night. And really I should be trying to get more days in than just one, but yeah, so I'm full transparency, it is not motivated entirely by trying to improve our game throughput, but I do think it will also improve the throughput by encouraging more weekend dev time. Because I mean, like all the streaming and like posting videos and stuff, the actual results are like kind of paltry. It's really much more about accountability and being able to like show up every week and say, all right, this is what I got done, and this is what I'm gonna do for a dedicated dev session, 2 to 3 hours in front of you. Because I think without that accountability, I probably would have quit a while ago, and I would have put this as a half-finished bin and tried some new and exciting concept um, that's more interesting to me and doesn't have the same like difficult problems to be worked through. You know, um, that's always the easiest thing to do. Is just saying like, oh, I hit this wall. There's a lot left to do. There's a slog. I have all these hard bugs I need to find. I have to create a suite of automated tests. Like there are so many less fun parts of developing a larger scope game that, you know, the knee jerk, the easiest reaction is to just say, is this even that good anyway? Whatever. I have this cool new idea. Let's try that out. And then all that gets you is a large pile of unfinished games. So I I definitely appreciate the internet helping me out in building accountability here, because this is my vow, is we are gonna get this game done. I will not give up until I have implemented all the content for 5 levels of this game that I plan to implement, and got it out in the public's hands in a playable form of quality that I find acceptable. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm the lots of rambling, looking at a OneNote here with no content. That's fine though. That's fine. All right, so yeah, we're gonna do some. I won't be as distracted this week with video games. I think the most of the hype is done for the initial WoW release, so we should get some good dev sessions in offline this upcoming week, and work on a new, probably visual feedback task next Monday. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. You can check me out on all the social medias as Quiet Bench Zen, and have a good night.